in tune. We're on time. It is episode 108 of the Collectin and Connectin podcast. With me to my right is the Queen of Floaty, the funding helper of all loans, my personal loan assistant, Banana Banking Mac. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm back and better than ever. It is not my flu game. This is post my illness. I'm happy to be here and healthy with you guys.
It's funny how amazing life is. Like 3 days after you're sick, you have like a whole new outlook on life.
Oh yeah,
take on the world.
On the roses.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
And without further ado, a very special guest, everyone's favorite, Matt from TopShot Vinyls. You know him from the Discord. You know him from X. He's the man behind Fast Break. He's building and working and dealing with flooding in his basement, and he's a genius, and he loves collectibles. And we've got some stuff to talk about. Matt.
Hey guys, how we doing? Glad to be back.
It's good to see you again.
Last time I was here, you weren't past 100 episodes now. Now you guys are like pros, full-on pros. I love to see it.
Yeah, we're 108 in now. A lot of my friends have said that I've changed. They said I switched up since I got the bag. We got, let's see. So this episode's dropping Tuesday. I will be seeing you guys in person in like 4 sleeps, as my kids would say. 4 sleeps.
Yep. See you in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some basketball with y'all. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I know that me and Banana are gonna be there. We're gonna be hooping. We're gonna have the mics. We're gonna be mic'd up.
Love it. Is there gonna be video like they have like for a game? Like we'll hear you guys talking about what plays coming up next, like behind the scenes footage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's gonna be footage, and you're gonna render it into a moment.
That
would be cool.
Game plan.
We could probably do that.
Hell yeah.
That'd be fun.
And so I have some questions for you.
Cool, first
of all, so Summer League, I know I'm planning on going to the games on Friday night. Is that your guys' plans?
Yeah, I definitely want to go Friday. Obviously Saturday, there's probably, there's a bunch of events, so I don't know if we're going to make it over there, but I mean, I'd love to see Cooper Flag. I don't think he plays on Friday night, but I'm definitely going to get over to see the Sixers, see VJ Edgecombe in person. The Sixers Summer League roster has a bunch of college studs. I think we talked about last time I was here. I'm in a very serious fantasy college basketball league, so I recognize all these guys that are getting signed to Summer League rosters, and it'll be fun to see those guys in this sort of environment. So I'm excited to see what we have going on there, and I really hope VJ Edgecombe is the athlete everyone says he is. We lucked into a 3rd pick after the whole team got injured basically this season. So not as lucky as the Mavericks. I still can't get over that happened. But I'm excited to see what Cooper Flag can do. He was awesome to watch in college, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see these guys. Summer League's just really cool to see all these guys playing at the pro level.
Yeah, on Friday we are going to have Jazz Hornets at 5. So we'll get to see Knipple versus Ace. And then at 6 on Friday, the Bulls are playing the Raptors. At 7, we got the Wizards and the Suns. At 8, Clippers Rockets. So, and there's even a 9 o'clock game.
Yeah, I think they have crazy. 2 different locations where they're playing the game simultaneously. Yeah.
But I'm pumped. Salt Lake Summer League starts on Saturday, so I will be there in Salt Lake on this coming Saturday. So
Sixers will be there too. Yeah.
So I will see the first game is Jazz versus Sixers. So we're going to see Ace versus VJ, first game. I'm excited.
We definitely need to talk about Ace a little bit because he's the guy I wanted the Sixers to draft. And obviously all the nonsense with his tryouts and all that stuff went down. He was on my fantasy team last year. I loved watching him. I bought courtside seats to a Rutgers game against Princeton and watched him and Harper against Xavier Lee, who I think just transferred from Princeton. I forget where he transferred to, but absolute stud. Ace Bailey hit a big shot to tie the game, and then Xavier Lee came down and hit a buzzer beater winner. And it was a crazy game.
My goodness.
But Ace can ball. I think he probably got some bad advice from his people. And, if you look up his agent, he is a total novice.
He's not even legally an agent.
I think it's probably just a family friend or something like that. So he's just getting really bad advice, and hopefully that changes because he should have been a top 3 pick. Absolutely. Yep. He's got all the tools to be a top 3 pick. So I'm hoping that, the Jazz can really get something out of him because dude is a stud and he's so young. Where he's going to be in 4 years, if he pans out properly, he should be an all NBA level player. Yep. If he pans out the proper way. But it's always the big if question for those lottery picks. Will they reach their potential? Right.
Yeah, he's 18 and he's a young 18. Yeah.
And it usually takes till 23. Look at Shea, for example. Shea was trade fodder for Paul George, just as a young guy they threw into a trade. I don't think anybody expected him to be an MVP level player, and he hit that 23 stride and never looked back. So, some guys hit that 23 mark and go nuclear. Other guys like Ben Simmons were multi-time All-Stars, all defense, nearly defensive player of the year, all before 23, then hit 23 and forgot how to play basketball. So it goes both ways, and it's kind of interesting to watch it play out because there are guys right now that you don't even think about as a star. And 4 years from now, we're going to be like, how did we not see this?
Yep. 100%. And all the local, believe me, we Jazz fans have been following this extremely closely because we all were praying for Cooper Flag, and then we fall to 5, and then we totally got. Dude, I'm so happy that Austin Ainge said, "Screw it, we're taking him." And he didn't say, a lot of people are like, "You didn't want to go to the Jazz." It's not that he didn't. He wanted to go to Washington. He didn't want to go to a lot of teams. Well,
you probably wanted Khan probably at 5, hoping that he would fall to you.
I didn't want Khan, but I think a lot of people like Khan. I think a lot of Jazz fans wanted Trey Johnson.
Okay, from Texas, right?
Yeah, yes, but I didn't think that. I didn't think that we'd have a shot at Ace. But anyways, all the local reporting and the locals are all the local reporters are all over the Ace story, and he has been super locked in the practice facility,
good,
staying super busy. A lot of the Jazz younger players have stayed in Salt Lake all summer. Cody Williams has gained 12 pounds this summer, which he needs to gain 16 more, but that's a start. Keontae's been working his butt off pre and post practice. So we're excited.
Yeah. You guys have a great young team. You got a lot of good young players.
Yeah. We'll see what
Sensabaugh and happens. Collier and George and just a lot of good young players.
Yeah. And Walter Clayton Jr. is going to be fun. So
Filipowski.
Yeah. So the future is we finally start to have
Danny Ainge is really good at rebuilding teams. He's not really good at getting over the hump to a championship. So for your sake, I hope he gives you all the tools and then turns it over to someone that can get you to the finish line.
Well, he turned it over to his son, Austin. So
did he already turn it over to Austin?
Yeah, Austin makes all the decisions.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Yeah, I think Danny holds on to things too long.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Celtics, and then they switched over to Brad Stevens. Boom, 2 years later, championship.
Yep. So, enough about the Jazz. Nobody cares. Just kidding. Everyone cares about the Jazz.
Everyone's favorite team.
I heard that you might have some fast break alpha.
And
that's
there's always break alpha around the corner.
Yeah, because you stay busy just building that.
Yeah, nonstop. So yeah, we've been working on something really cool that we're going to unleash this summer. Something that we're really proud of and worked really hard on building, and that is historic fast break. Retired players being usable in fast break, and we've built our own stat engine that helps sims the games, and we've already done about 5 or 6 30-game seasons just to see how it goes, and it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I think people know who some of the top players are in terms of retired players on the platform, but we have full stats for these players from every single season that we've run, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it plays out. Every team will play every day, and so there'll be 15 games a day with 150 players to choose from. And as new players are added to the product, there may be some transactions where one player gets dropped and another player gets added, and it's going to be a lot of fun to keep track of and watch over the summer, and as we build it out more and more. But I got to tell you, there are some 5-man squads that are just like eye-poppingly good. It's going to be fun.
Hey. Whoa.
Yeah. What we're looking for here? Like, we're always looking for ways to improve fast break in the week to week, day to day, run to run, all that kind of stuff. And the summer months are sort of boring to a degree for NBA fans. Everybody sort of turned their attention over to NFL, and obviously there's Summer League, but the gap between the end of Summer League and 2 weeks and the start of the season is 3 months basically. So how do we fill that time? Man, we just have some fun with the greatest players that have ever played the game that are on TopShot, and we'll roll it out and see how it goes, and we can always make tweaks and adjustments and make sure it's as fun as it can possibly be. But man, the percentage ownerships are going to be so interesting because you have 150 guys that are potential plays on any given night. We have all the stats that we normally have, so we'll be able to do all the normal stuff, and we'll run the games on intervals, so you'll be able to check in. Hey, this game starts at 7, this game starts at 7:15, this game starts at 7:30, and the stats will populate, and you can just kind of stay on there and watch them populate and see how your players are doing in real time, just like if the games were live. So really, really excited about this, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Holy shit.
Cannot wait. I want to play this now.
Exactly. We've been playing it internally, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun.
Are Coultin and I not internal enough?
We might be able to get you into a little play test here.
So maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. And just, if you can't, that's fine. So let's say we're playing a historical game and it's Jazz versus Raptors. And it's on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. And so you mentioned that you can follow along with the game. So
it's not going to be like
obviously it's not going to be like I'm watching a game, but like how long does this simulated game last?
Right. So I think in the first iteration, it's going to be the stats are uploaded and they'll instantly populate when that game time hits. So people will see, okay, I didn't do as well in this game as with the player I had. I may have to change up somebody that I was planning on saving for later to use, and so the games will be happening 15-minute intervals. So it's sort of like a second screen experience when you're watching Summer League or you're watching whatever. You have fast break up on the side, and you're like, oh, this game just finished, let me see how my guy did. Oh shit, I'm really behind, I need to go get this guy who's going to do better for rebounds, or this guy who's going to have more assists, or this guy who's going to have 3-pointers. And, it's interesting because we have a lot of years covered here, and some guys are a lot better at shooting threes than others who may not have even really shot the three in their career because it wasn't really prominent in the league yet. So there's some really interesting stuff like that where, the planning is going to be very interesting. Every player is viable basically. And, it's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to watch like a simulated Madden game or NBA 2K game where I'm seeing the stats upload, and maybe we'll get there. But for now, like we run the sim, we upload the stats, boom, first game populates. 15 minutes later, second game populates, and it'll lock the same way it does in the current game. When a game starts, you can't take a player out. Injuries are turned off. No injuries. No injuries. So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff, because injuries are an absolute nightmare, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So if a player were to retire in the middle of our simulation, are they then added? Like, let's say LeBron James is like, screw all this trade talk, I'm retiring. Is he automatic in, or what?
He could definitely be brought in with a transaction. And right now the Cavs have J.R. Smith, and maybe he gets replaced by LeBron if LeBron retires out of nowhere. But yeah, that was one big thing. There are a couple players in here that are not officially retired, but are very much like close or on their way out. Guys like Kyle Lowry, guys like Chris Paul. But I'd say 99% of the players are fully retired.
Okay, next question. Now, don't gotta name names, okay? Like, we don't need to get into like what players will and will not be on there, but on Top Shot, obviously, we have like moments from the '86 season all the way till Vince Carter's last shot. Shout out Vince Carter's last shot. Will the teams? I'm trying to figure out how I word this. Is it era based, or is it kind of like all time?
It's all time, and there may be some players that people don't 100% associate with the franchise, but they had enough of an imprint on that franchise that they were, we spent a lot of time putting these rosters together, 5 players per team. And we really dug deep and tried to make sure that the players were on the team that made the most sense for them. Vince Carter, for example, he's a Raptor. I will always remember him as a Raptor. He played for the Nets for a while, was great on the Nets. He played for the Hawks. He was great on the Hawks. People are only going to remember him as a Raptor, in my opinion. So, like, stuff like that, we were really, wanted to make sure that we were doing it the right way. Another player that falls into that category, Ray Allen. Where would you think Ray Allen should go? Would it be the Celtics? Would it be the Heat? No, we went with the Bucks, because the Bucks were off everybody's radar for years and years and years, and he came along with a really good group of guys in Milwaukee and really brought that franchise back from the dead. Very close to being the Sixers in 2000 to go play the Lakers, and the Raptors were also in the mix there. And so we're really thinking a lot about, like, hey, will this guy go down in history as a Miami Heat player or Boston Celtics player? When I think of Ray Allen, maybe it's because I watched him as a kid, I always think of him as a Milwaukee Bucks player. Sure, he did amazing things late in his career for other teams, but he played for the Bucks a lot. Chris Bosh is another great example. A lot of people think of him as a Heat player, but a lot more people probably think of him as a Raptors player.
I think of him as a Raptor.
Kevin Garnett, He's a Timberwolf. He's always going to be a Timberwolf, in my opinion. Yeah, he went to the Celtics. He went to the Nets. He went to other places. He's a Timberwolf. So things like that. And, we tried to get it as close to correct as we could. And some players, there's going to be some discourse on why is he here. But I think that discourse is good and healthy. And it's fun to talk about. And there can always be transactions and player movement and trades. And, we'll see what happens.
Well, and I mean, damn, we're getting into the woods if we're going to be debating on like what player, like if people, are, I can already hear like somebody on Twitter complaining about player X not being on player B. And it's like, bro, like
this is a good conversation.
Like we're using our this is a game.
Yep.
This is fun.
Yep.
Holy I can't believe this, man. This is insane.
So is this all comments, or is this going to be tiered like our current fast break?
It'll be tiered like the current fast break. So if you have a guy like Hakeem Olajuwon and you have his legacies, you're going to be able to use Hakeem 4 times in a run. And that's going to be pretty special.
You got the KG.
KG Ultimate. You can use KG every single night. Yeah.
And you said there's a game each team plays every day.
Each team plays every day.
Can't get injured. We got daily fun.
No injuries.
Let's go. This could be more fun than the in-season fast break.
Very, very well might.
We might need to run this all year.
We very well may if it's as popular as we hope it is.
Do you know prizes yet, by any chance?
We don't know prizes yet. We're actually working on trying to get, working with Mitchell and Ness and like trying to get, throwback jerseys and stuff like that, and just trying to figure out what to do for the first time through, just to make sure it works. And then, as it picks up popularity, we can always, throw a lot more into it.
This is going to be so fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Now.
I've been giddy about it for weeks and weeks that we've been working on it.
Dude, I needed you to tell me about this a few days before we recorded because I can't even concentrate on like questions to ask you because I'm like I'm thinking about my collection, like what moments I have that's getting, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
Wondering. And I don't, I don't want to know what player, I'm excited to see.
We'll have a full roster unveiling. Actually was working on a graphic earlier today, getting all the players' faces in there so we could unveil all the players on all the teams, and that's going to be a lot of fun on it in and of itself. So yeah, working through all that, and then obviously excited to bring in some more players. Hopefully, can't give away too much there with off-season historic plans, but always some fun stuff on the horizon there.
Do you know when that roster reveal will be?
For Fast Break?
Yeah, for the historic teams.
Yeah. So it'll.
And if you'd rather not say.
I'm thinking of the day that this is releasing. It'll probably be about 2 weeks after this pod releases. Okay. So right before the Sims start going, it'll be that week of the 21st, most likely.
Gotcha.
That's sweet.
That's insanely cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So who was that? Your idea? Talk to me about how this came to be.
Yeah, so it's something I've wanted to do for since Fast Break was started. It was something I wanted to do. In fact, I wanted to do something for retired players back in the Flash Challenge days and do Sims like back then. And we just didn't really have the infrastructure in Flash Challenges to do it the proper way. In Fast Break, we have that infrastructure because we got all the players and product. They have their headshots. It all kind of works really well. And so me and my colleague Jordan, we just went through building it, and we were building the code, and we were building it on Python, and we started running the simulations, and we're like, oh my God, this is actually going to work the way we wanted to. And so we started out at like 48 minutes, and we're like, oh wait, we can't do 48 minutes. There's only 5 players. We got to lower the games to 36 minutes, because most players play between like 36 and 38 minutes per game on average in their careers. So we were playing with that, and then we have to play with variance. We don't want everybody just to hit their average every day. That doesn't make it that very fun. So there's a healthy bit of variance. So a player could score 15 one night and score 50 another night. We had to make sure that the variance was there to make it feel alive and make it feel like, hey, anything can happen on any given night. If I'm going to play Jason Kidd tonight, maybe he gets 25 assists. Maybe he only gets 3 assists, but maybe the variance isn't that wide. But there needed to be some variance, and not just, hey, they're going to hit their average every night, because then it just becomes a stat playing game, and that's not as much fun. So we added a whole lot of variance in, so the players are kind of all over the place on where they can go, but the average remains the same. It's just like there's highs and lows, standard deviations. We kept testing. All right, this wasn't enough. Oh, this was too much. Let's pull it back in. So there's been a lot of testing. There's been a lot of trial and error. And I think we finally got it to a place that we're like super happy with the 30 game results we're seeing, the standings we're seeing of the 30 teams and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and simulating the full seasons and seeing like who the league leaders in scoring are and all that stuff. A lot of fun.
You can tell us those league leaders after this when we go off.
Oh, about that one.
I got a question for you here. What do we do with teams like the Sonics? How's that?
So Sonics are paired with the Thunder.
Okay.
The New Orleans is the New Orleans Hornets and the New Orleans Pelicans. So anybody that played in New Orleans. Eventually, potentially the New Orleans Jazz, if a certain player makes it into product, perhaps. And then I'm trying to think of any other team. Oh, Charlotte is the Bobcats and the Hornets.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think, and then Brooklyn, New Jersey Nets. I think that covers all. Yeah, it covers all of them.
So it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. And there's some wild rosters here. some really wild rosters. Yeah,
I cannot imagine. Dude, I mean, thank you. Like, I gotta say, thank you.
Hey, like I build what I would want as a collector, as a fan of the NBA. Like that's how I approach things. Like I have wanted this since before I even worked here. Like I've wanted to have because when I play 2K, I always start in like the 70s and do all the drafts and work my way through, and like I love just going through the history of the NBA, and we have so much NBA history on the platform, and by and large it just gets forgotten because people are going after the new thing, and there's so much amazing content, and like hopefully this gets more eyes on the content. And it's always a tough balance because I don't want people just going out and buying these just because they're game pieces in Fast Break, which I know a lot of people in the community are pretty outspoken about, like, hey, why are we using these only as game pieces? And I think it's a very fair critique, and it's really on us to figure out how we can do it in a way that people are still going to get moments as collectibles, and this is just a perk of owning that collectible instead of the other way around. And for some people it's never going to be the other way around, and for other people it's never going to be the opposite of that. So we have to find that sweet spot where, hey, these things are still looked at as collectibles, but also if you think about Pokemon, Coultin, you and I talk about Pokemon all the time. Pokemon, when it first started, people weren't collecting them as collectibles. It was a game. And then eventually, as time went on, they became old enough that they became collectibles. Same thing happened in Magic the Gathering. Same thing happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! And countless others. Now, I'm not saying that we should be a game until 10 years have passed so everything feels collectible. But, I mean, we've seen so many products follow that pattern that, it's likely that it will wind up going in that direction to some degree. So just trying to figure out how we can do it in a way that makes sure that we're taking into account, hey, I want somebody to go out and get a Vince Carter legendary dunk contest because it's the greatest fucking dunk contest ever done. Not because I can use him 4 times in historic fast break. Like that, I know some people are going to think like that, but it's certainly not our goal in doing this.
I hope people don't think like that, because that's a grail of mine, and I need that price point to.
Yeah,
it's such an amazing moment.
It's so amazing. Like I want that so bad.
So good. Yeah.
Dude, you just blew our minds.
You gave us hope in this off season.
We like to have fun here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm excited. And I'm thinking about like my historic sets, and I'm like, I'm so glad I completed those.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, oh yeah, just have it. I don't care.
That is so awesome. I wish I had the rare run it back set, but I got my Malone. That's gonna work for me. I got some Larry Legend moments.
That'll help. Yeah. I mean, I don't think people like, obviously Malone's kind of got a bad rap right now for various reasons, but I don't think people really understand how dominant of a player he was.
No, they don't. People don't realize that he is the greatest power forward of all time because Tim Duncan was a goddamn center.
Well, even if Duncan wasn't a center, Malone eclipses him on everything except for championships, which I don't know. Tim Duncan had some pretty incredible players around him when he won championships.
He did.
So, yeah, I mean, they're both amazing players, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Malone's numbers, I think some of them are just so eye-poppingly insane that I don't think people realize it and how long he played. But yeah, well, I mean, one of the big things here is we have 150 unique players here, and I think like one of the really important things to me is I want people to learn about these players. I want people to learn about their careers, and hopefully this gets them to dig into these players a little bit more in ways they normally wouldn't have. I'm just looking through some of the names here. Like Wally Zerbiak is a great example. He was so fun to watch, and most people don't even remember him. And it's not like he's been out of the league for that long, but you know, he's a lot of fun, and I hope people look into his career. Like you have guys like Isaiah Ryder, who, you know, had one of the great dunks of all time, and started a whole movement on dunks. And so, like, there's a lot of guys like that are in here that I really hope people take time and learn about those players and learn about their careers a little bit more, because at the end of the day, like that's what this is all about, NBA fandom, and you know, obviously fans of these teams know these players well, but you know, even as I was going through this, like there are guys that I learned about that I, you know, that played a little bit before my time that I didn't really know that much about, like, you know, the Mark Eatons of the world. Chuck Person was, you know, a little bit
Mark Eaton holds the NBA single season record for total blocks with 456, and he holds the NBA blocks like average per game record of 5.6 blocks per game. And rest in peace, Big Mark. He was a Utah Jazz legend.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys like that people have never heard of. Xavier McDaniel and
man.
Walter Davis. Like there's so many amazing players out there that have unbelievable resumes, and people just never took the time to learn who they are. So I'm hoping this helps out there.
Honestly, between this and moment by moment, I think we're all going to learn a lot. I know I am. I'm just waiting for Coultin to put out a show about it.
Yeah, let's run it back. Let's do some run it back moment by moments, shall we?
Yeah. Do some Drazen Petrovic, because
man.
He came over late in his career. If he had come over earlier, my God, we a lot more people would be talking about him.
I saw one of the local like fans like hat store, you know, like merch shops had his jerseys on clearance for like 60% off. I almost copped one. I was like, people don't know how good he was.
Yeah. There's a bunch of players like
that. So I think it's safe to plan for some type of, I mean, every summer we've had a throwback set drop. Safe to assume we'll get that again this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to
think.
go too much into detail, but I don't think it would be a Top Shot summer without some throwbacks. So I think it's safe to expect some of that, and more information will be coming on that sooner than later.
Of course.
And I think one of the things that'll be interesting about new content and new players entering the product is there may be transactions with historic. There may be guys that get moved out and guys that get moved in, and we'll have to see how it all plays out.
Like an upgrade type situation?
Yeah, potentially, or a trade. We'll have to see who comes into the product to know what the right roster movement is, and maybe we'll put it up to vote with the community. Hey, so and so just got added to Top Shot. What team should they be on? And once they decide that, all right, what player should they replace? And it could be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
I wonder. I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I mean, dude, there could be a sixth man type situation eventually, like where we're growing a roster.
For sure. I mean, I could see it very easily getting to 10 players per team.
Holy cow.
The sim gets a bit more complicated once we get past 5, so we're gonna have to see how that all plays out. But I could certainly see a scenario where that happens.
You got this.
Oh my goodness. Look at you. You're just a friggin' genius. You're like the brains of Top Shot.
I mean, I just love it. I've loved it since the day I learned about it. I just want it to be the best thing ever, and I think it has the tools to be the best thing ever. And we don't always get it right, but we certainly are not resting by any means. We're always working and trying out new things, and it's a 5-year-old product. Baseball cards have 100+ year head start on us, and I think they're still figuring it out. So
yeah,
we're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to try new things, and it's not always going to work. And we're going to take it on the chin several times, but we're going to come back stronger with new learnings and try our best to put the best experience out there for the user.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for how feral Twitter's going to be. Honestly, like I'm so ready, and like I might be feeling all wild and just go on devil's advocate just to see what happens out in the streets.
I think there's going to be several players where people are going to be arguing, why are they here? Why aren't they here? How could they put them here?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it go down. Honestly,
I just wrote my agenda for next week. Get Matt a damn raise.
That's the name of the episode right there.
Hey, I'll never say no to that.
We got to clip this. That's a thumbnail right there.
That is.
That's so good.
Holy cow, Matt. Well, dude, I don't even know what to say other than, thank you. And I am so excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, me too.
No injuries.
No injuries. The best of the best.
Every team's playing every day. 15-minute intervals. That's interacting with our moments every single night.
Yep. Exactly right. And it's one of those things where there really hasn't been a ton of utility for retired players. And so many of us collect those retired players. Like I remember the first week that I was allowed to start buying moments again when we got our new play policy put into place. The first 2 moments I bought, Dirk Nowitzki, Top Shot debut, Allen Iverson Top Shot debut.
Yeah.
Those are the first 2 moments I bought, 2 of my favorite players of all time. I think there's a lot of fans of basketball out there, and I think some of them may be dormant, and I'm hoping some of them come back and get into this because cheering for their favorite players again, there's something about that. There's some nostalgia there that we haven't been able to tap into until this, and I'm just so excited that we're able to do it now. And I mean, I'm gonna be going crazy for Allen Iverson every night, and to me, that's just fun to see. I'm going to look at what he puts up each night. And so that's another thing. We're working through how we're going to put out the box scores, because normally you just go to like whatever site and look at the box score. Here, you don't know what it is. You have to kind of look in different places. So we're going to figure out a way to get all those uploaded onto the Fast Break page, so people can dive in and see what a player did each night and figure out what their strategy is moving forward.
And will it be like 2-week runs like the current Fast Break?
Yep. Between 10 and 14 days, probably.
Yeah. The window. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be between like 50 and 70 players needed for an entire run.
Perfect.
Incredible.
It could be less if you have rares and legendaries, of course, but that's like the total number of plays. Yeah.
This will be fun.
So it'll be fun.
Wow. Cherry Coke on me in Vegas, dude.
Love it.
Love it. That is exciting.
This is awesome.
Wow.
And we'll have to jump back on and talk through it more once everything is released and maybe have some more people on just to talk through what they love, what they don't love, and make it as good as it can possibly be. Because at the end of the day, this is a love letter to the community. This is something I've wanted to do for years, and I'm just so excited that we're in a position that we're able to do it, because I just think it's going to be so much fun, and I think people are just going to love signing on each day and being like, I'm going to play Dirk and Larry Bird today because I feel like it and I can.
Dude,
there's no other game where you can do that in a daily sim type game.
Bro, does Roham know how like unhinged you are?
I think so. I think he has a pretty good idea.
Nicole, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, you're all good. I was just going to say, I have a question from Mayor Treat. Is the autofill button coming to this game?
Autofill? Oh, like the autofill that we have in NFL?
No, it's in Fast Break.
Oh, will it come to Historic?
Yeah.
I mean, anything that's in regular Fast Break will be in this.
I'm anti autofill, but I gotta ask, just for our lazier community.
Yeah, no, there will be autofill. Like I said, it is in the same exact game as NBA Fast Break. So anything that it has, the game will have.
Sweet.
I'm visualizing, like, explaining this to people.
Imagine when people start sharing their lineups each night.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, I'm picturing explaining this to people like, I don't like people that are a little bit older than me. You know what I mean? Like people in their 50s. Like,
so here's how I would explain, because this is how I explained it to people I've talked to in their 50s. I said, this is all-star baseball. This is Stratocaster baseball, where you build a roster of the greatest players and you spin a wheel. Like, obviously it's not the same as like a board game type situation, but like that's the kind of feel where you're like building these 5-man squads that like you've never been able to do before.
Yeah. I mean, this is like pretty groundbreaking.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Dude, pat yourself on the back because that is impressive, bro.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what am I supposed to do now? I can't. That's when we just drop the mic. I appreciate you coming on and dropping this huge bomb for us.
Of course. We like to have fun, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I am so excited. I guess I'll see you guys in 4 Sleeps.
Yep. I'll see you in Vegas. I will try not to stay up all night the night before we hang out, but it's Vegas. Can't promise anything.
Cherry Coke will wake you up.
Yeah.
You'll be good to go.
I'll be on the 1-2 no limit table until 3 a.m. and then wake up at 7 and Coultin will be there. Oh, here's your Cherry Coke. Let's get moving.
You already know.
And and he'll meet you in the morning.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anything you need, bro. We owe you.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. Nicole, thank you for jumping on.
Yeah.
Good
No
stuff.
problem. Thank you for giving us alpha. This is sick.
Yes, of course. You guys are my favorite to talk to about this stuff, and love watching the pod every week. And keep doing what you're doing. Love it.
Appreciate your support and coming on. We'll see you in a few days. Signing off. Fast break legend Matt. Thank you.